Oh, all right. All right, everyone. Go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce the 60th Mayor of Dallas, Eric Johnson.
All right, I'm going to take my mask off just for a moment here, but good afternoon. It's just barely afternoon. Dallas is a welcoming city, one that embraces its diversity and works to overcome the racial and economic divisions sowed by generations that have long passed. Over my lifetime, I've seen the incredible progress that we've made in unifying this city. We're far from perfect, but it's clear we understand each other now better than we did 10, 20, even 30 years ago. We've not been afraid to acknowledge the problems that we face. We're defined now not by our divisions, but by our idealism and our drive to make Dallas better for all of its residents. But we face some headwinds that threaten to stymie that progress. Because in today's world, it's sadly become all too easy to hate. The derisive and divisive rhetoric of some of the loudest voices in our society has allowed hate to ferment among their followers. The echo chambers of social media and online forums provide the cloak of anonymity, and words and hate travel faster and farther than ever before. Thumbs, sadly, move faster than minds and hearts can open. This spread of hatred has manifested in a 42% increase in hate crimes since 2014, according to newly released federal data. And as a top 10 city in this country, Dallas is a microcosm of the nation as a whole. Last year, in fact, our police department reported an increase in hate crimes right here in Dallas. While these crimes are still relatively few in number, they are disproportionately impactful to our city's psyche and on the quality of life of our residents. We cannot afford to ignore or to downplay hate. Nobody should feel uncomfortable or unsafe in Dallas because of who they are, because of their race or ethnicity, their sexual and gender identity, their religion, or their national origin. In Dallas, we strive to be, and we must be, proactive. We must be willing to do the hard work of learning to love and understand each other and to respect our differences. We've made some progress in my short time as mayor. We placed an unprecedented emphasis on diversity when making my board and commission appointments. We've issued proclamations discouraging hate and encouraging diversity, including in our business community. And we've facilitated conversations about race and policing. Today, we are taking this effort a step further by announcing the formation of this city's first ever Mayor's Anti-Hate Advisory Council. This group of distinguished leaders that you see before you are leaders of our faith institutions and of our communities, and they'll be responsible for helping advise me and our police department on ways that our city can respond to new threats and old prejudices, help facilitate meaningful dialogue between people, and to increase tolerance and understanding in our city. I'm going to ask them to also push our private sector and our communities to engage in this battle with us and to help people in our city better understand one another. So in all, we have 16 people who've agreed to serve on this inaugural advisory council for our city. I've asked 4 of those individuals to serve as my co-chairs to help shape the direction of this very important advisory council, and they've graciously agreed to join me here today. We have Sherry Goldberg, who chairs the Community Security Initiative of the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas. We have Gary Sanchez, who chairs the North Texas LGBT Chamber of Commerce. We have Sanjeev Yajnik, the president of Financial Services for Capital One. And we have Pastor Sammy Berry, who's the minister at the Dallas West Church of Christ, and he's also the chair of the Dallas Area Preachers and Church Leaders. You're going to hear from these individuals in just a moment, but first, I want to close by saying that combating hate is not just the job of the 16 people I just mentioned or the 4 co-chairs I just named. This is all of our responsibility. We can all set the tone for ourselves. We can all be kinder, more compassionate to one another. And we can all work to ensure that hate finds no haven whatsoever in the city of Dallas. And with that, I want to say thank you again and turn it over to our co-chairs. And first up, I believe, is Sanjeev.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. And, it is my honor to serve the city of Dallas and to be serving you and your entire team. I just want to say a few words on this incredibly important topic and something that I'm very passionate about. Early in my career, I had the good fortune and had the opportunity to work all across the world. And there's something that struck me as I worked all around the world. I was struck by our common humanity, no matter where I went. And I was also struck by this beautiful, amazing richness of diversity, cultures, languages, ways of thinking, ways of acting. And what I realized early in my career is that when you bring these 2 things together, common humanity and this rich diversity, you get magic. You get magic. Now, we have an amazing city in Dallas. I think it is just the most fantastic. It's the best place that I've ever been and I've ever lived. And we have this amazing diversity right here within our 4 walls of Dallas. And now it is up to us to make that magic happen in a much bigger and a much stronger way here in our own city. But to make that magic happen, we've got to make sure that every single person with all the diversity and all the backgrounds and every one of our citizens feels physically safe and feels psychologically safe and can express themselves fully. And that's how we can achieve greatness. So I'm here today to serve the city, and I'm here today to call on every leader that we have in our entire city. And I'm talking about business leaders, nonprofit leaders, community leaders, but also every citizen, because I know that in your own right, every citizen shows incredible leadership. And I'm calling on all of us to step forward and to really harness this magic that we have living right in the city. And the way that we do it is by celebrating our similarities and cherishing our differences. And that's the way in which we are going to achieve our destiny and our potential as a city. Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to introduce Sherry Goldberg, followed by Sammy Berry, and then Gary Sanchez will close this out.
Thank you, Sanjeev. That was wonderful. Thank you, Mayor Johnson, for your commitment and vision for our great city. As chair of CSI for the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas, my focus has been on awareness and response to threats to the Jewish community in combating anti-Semitism. While that work will continue, I look forward to expanding into this city and building bridges with all groups to ensure the safety of our entire Dallas community. We're all one team, and we should always support each other through good times and through challenges. Strength is in numbers. I know this step to bring everyone together will make our city even better than it is today. Thank you, Mayor.
Good afternoon. First, I want to say thank you, Mayor Johnson, for establishing this new anti-hate advisory council. I have worked in the faith community and in ministry here in the city of Dallas for over 40 years. And I serve this city because I love the city of Dallas. So I look forward to working on something, however, that I don't like about the city of Dallas, and that is the increasing trend of hate violence and other hate crimes. It is important that we all have a clear definition of what hate crime is and what it looks like. We need to look at the value systems, the policies, and laws that allow hate to continue to exist. We need to make sure we understand the hate crime statistics and what they mean, and work diligently to educate and eliminate hate violence and other hate crimes here in our city. Thank you so very much. I am Minister Sammy Berry, minister of the Dallas West Church of Christ.
Wow, the pressure of closing a show or a press conference. But it's actually, it's quite nice to be here with so many good friends and with new ones. I am Gary Sanchez, and I have the pleasure and the privilege of being the board chair of the North Texas LGBT Chamber of Commerce. But I'm not here today to talk about the chamber. I'm here to share that hate has no home in Dallas. Regardless of one's race, appearance, views, or identity, everyone, and I do mean everyone, deserves to walk the streets of Dallas with a sense of safety and respect. For many individuals, perhaps some from the smaller towns, Dallas is seen as this beacon of a place, perhaps like an Emerald City in the distance. And so a city where one can be their true self, a city that not only embraces diversity and inclusivity, but celebrates them. And most importantly, a city that is welcoming to all. So wherever people are viewing us from, either smaller towns or larger cities, Dallas must and will step up to be that beacon. The city that shines bright, where everyone is welcome and hate is not tolerated. So Mayor Johnson, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I accept this challenge. I'm looking forward to working with my fellow co-chairs and the entire committee to drive hate out of our city and make Dallas a welcoming place for those who live here, work here, or are simply just passing through. So in closing, I'd like everyone to repeat after me, committee members and members of the audience. You ready? Hate, has no home, in Dallas. One more time. Hate has no home in Dallas. All right, we got it. All right, so let's get to work. Thank you so much.
All right, do we have any questions? Clayton.
Mayor, obviously the temperature, not weather related, it's not outside, but is high across the country, and Dallas is no exception. What kind of division are you seeing in the city, and what message do you have for those who, in the moment feel so angry or so frustrated for whatever it may be?
So the question, just repeating the question because we're streaming here. Question was about what is his message for considering the rising temperature of hate, and what kind of division are we seeing now?
According to our police department, we saw a almost 40% increase in hate crimes last year in our city. Now, I want to put that in context. We weren't dealing with a huge absolute number to begin with. So the relative increase is troubling. The absolute number is small. But let me tell you why we care. Let me tell you why that's important. Let me tell you why we're here, frankly. I've used this comparison before. It's how I feel about hate, and I think everyone on this stage today, or up here today, feels about this as well. I think of hate like cancer. You went to the doctor and the doctor told you, they found some cancer. You wouldn't care how little, you wouldn't care how much, you'd want it gone. You'd schedule the next possible appointment you could to have it removed. It's no consolation that it's just a couple of cells, or whatever. You want it gone. That's how we feel about the increase in hate crimes in our city and the existence of hate anywhere. We want to be aggressive and proactive about educating folks and emphasizing that our diversity is a strength and that we are a welcoming city so that it never becomes a major problem. So, yeah, we're concerned because the temperature does seem to be rising in the rhetoric. And if you look at social media, and I try to look at it as little as I can as an elected official, I have to look at it some, but it seems like the positive comments are outweighed by the negative comments by a factor of 5 to 1 or more. I mean, it can be somewhat depressing. We're here, the folks up here today, were selected because I know that they share my commitment to making sure that we focus on the positive and that we put out a positive vibe in this city. We want folks to come to Dallas. We want all types of people here because this is a place where everybody can succeed and thrive and have a great quality of life. And so even though we're talking about, I think it was maybe 18 cases of hate crimes last year, that's 18 too many. It's 18 too many. So that's my response to that.
Any other questions? All right, well, seeing none, thank you all very much for coming. We'll want to get a group picture, I think. But let us know if you have any other questions or anything like that. So thank you again.